to Justice. I'm Judge Jeanine Pirro. Thanks for being with us tonight. My open. His sarcasm is dripping. His disdain of our concerns for the safety of our families is palpable. At a time when the American people are scared, when we need reassurance, he mocks us. He talks down to us. He divides us. His ability to incite division, unparalleled in our history.
Apparently, they're scared of widows and orphans coming into the United States of America as part of our tradition of compassion. First they were worried about the press being too tough on them during debates. Now they're worried about 3-year-old orphans. That doesn't sound very tough to me.
Congressman Trey Gowdy had the best response.
The president says we're scared of widows and orphans. With all due respect to him, what I'm really afraid of is a foreign policy that creates more widows and orphans.
But we've seen this kind of division before, haven't we? In Ferguson, stoking the flames of racial hatred, chaos, and unrest. And when the ball is in his court, he can't even bring a civil violation. ISIS is spreading death and destruction in Paris. Al-Qaeda doing the same in Mali. On the heels of the downing of a civilian Russian airliner, the killing of innocents in Lebanon. Mr. President, can you not understand? We're scared. All we want is the truth. No unsubstantiated narratives. Al-Qaeda's on the run. ISIS is a JV team. The day before the Paris attack, you're crowing, ISIS is contained. And that genius sidekick Kerry of yours says, we're winning and ISIS is losing. We're not afraid of the truth. We're not afraid of Syrian refugees, most of whom are fleeing ISIS. What we are afraid of are radical Islamists, Muslim terrorists who seek to hide among Syrians to enter our homeland. And instead of reassuring us, you say we're popping off? You're more angry with reporters who are asking questions on our behalf than you are the ISIS barbarians. And you preach what our values should be, that we can't slam the door on refugees as if we're cold-hearted creatures. You yourself said we spend more than any other country on humanitarian aid. And don't play the religion card that we're not Christian if we don't do what you want. It's the individual who turns the other cheek, not the government. It's the individual who's supposed to be charitable, not the government. And you say we don't discriminate against people because of their faith. So tell me why there is a disproportionate number of Muslims admitted here compared to Christians. More than 95% of the Syrian refugees admitted are Muslims, and only 2.3% of Syrians you've admitted are Christian. The truth is, Christians represent 10%. So why only admit 2.3%? Even the preamble to our Constitution reads in part, we the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, and provide for the common defense, establish this Constitution for the United States. The first obligation of government is the protection of its citizens. That's why you're the commander-in-chief. Yet this is what you say.
But what I'm not interested in doing is posing or pursuing some notion of American leadership or America winning or whatever other slogans they come up with that has no relationship to what is actually going to work to protect the American people.
You're not interested in pursuing some notion of American leadership or America winning? Don't you want us to win? Are you ashamed of us? Instead, you go on and on about how ISIS doesn't represent Islam. Stop. Stop telling us what Islam is not, and start telling us how you're going to protect us. This nation was founded on Judeo-Christian principles. Let the Muslims tell us who they are and who they are not. And by the way, we're not slamming the door on anyone. Not that they have a right to be here in the first place. And why aren't the Arab countries, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, taking them? And you tell us that these refugees are subjected to rigorous screening and security background checks? That's baloney, and you know it. And the head of the FBI knows it, the head of Homeland Security knows it, the director of National Intelligence knows it. How the hell do you vet someone who has no papers or possibly a fake passport that you can buy for 750 euros like one of the Paris attackers did? How do we even know the name they give us is true? What are you going to do? Call 1-800-ASSAD and say, look, I know we're trying to kill you, and I know you're not scared of me and you're busy with a civil war, but can you have your clerk check her records to see if Mohammed is a terrorist? And even if you got that call through, I wouldn't believe you because you've already proven you're not capable of protecting us. Russia told you twice the Tsarnaev brothers, the Boston bombers, were terrorists. The FBI interviewed them twice and said, nothing to see here, folks. They were on a terrorist watch list and still went in and out of our country. You never stopped them. Be honest for once. This is no different than what you did at the southern border for Central Americans fleeing poverty. There are no controls. You take their fingerprints, and if you do, they're just on their way. God help us. And that's my open. Tell me what you think on my Facebook page or Twitter at Judge Jeanine, #JusticeOpen.